Today on Two Decent Blokes.
It's time for what
Okay.
women really think.
Critical
The event.
questions.
Yeah.
It was more or less, she was so concerned about where I was. So I would get a phone call and she'd say, "Hey, where are you?" And I'd be like, "I'm just hanging out with my friends doing whatever we're doing, pretty much nothing." Why is it so dang important for women to know exactly what we're doing every second of the day?
Yeah, women want to keep tabs on you. Most women, I'd say. So it's pretty familiar.
Many of my exes have not made the right decisions while I wasn't around.
Really?
I know. Another time, he went and bought an unauthorized toy, a $10,000 motorcycle. So needless to
So
say,
that's
I
a
need to
toy?
keep tabs on him because
Okay.
he was bound to do something ridiculous without my approval.
Wait, why are the things that men enjoy considered toys?
Toys considered just
Frivolous and
yeah,
necessary.
guys being kids, like grow up. This is the language that you always hear. You're playing on your Xbox, you need to grow up.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Two Decent Blokes channel, and today we have a special video for you that is talking about how men and women kind of see relationships differently. And this is an event that Steve Harvey did, and I'm pretty sure it was a couple years ago, but you know, the lessons are still pretty relevant. So let's not waste time and get into it.
Hey, we kicked off this two-day event by revealing what goes on inside a man's mind. But trust and believe, ladies, men are just as lost, probably more so, when it comes to what you really think. So this is your chance to give your candid answers to these guys and their most crucial, critical questions that they have. It's time for what
Okay.
women really think.
Critical
The event.
questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, now we got Carrie and Kim standing by with guys ready to field some of these questions here. Kim, who's got the first question?
Aaron, stand up, Aaron. What's
Tell
your
him.
question?
Back in the day when I was in relationships with a couple of girls, not all at the same time, but it was more or less, she was so concerned about where I was. So I would get a phone call and she'd say, "Hey, where are you?" And I'd be like, "I'm just hanging out with my friends doing whatever we're doing, pretty much nothing." So her question to me is always, "Oh, well, would you mind maybe sending me like a Snapchat or, you know, anything to let me know exactly what you're doing at this moment?" So my question is, why is it so dang important for women to know exactly what we're doing every second of the day?
What do you think about that? Do you think what he said is an experience most men actually deal with?
Yeah. Women want to keep tabs on you. Most women, I'd say. So it's pretty familiar.
It would be not looked at the same if it was men asking the same questions. Where are you? And send me a snapshot. I want to see what you're doing with your friends, and we need
Yeah,
proof.
the Snapchat part is a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Well, this is what we did, fellas. We surveyed this lovely group of women behind me, and we asked, is it because A, women like details, is how we're built? B, we don't trust you? Or
It is
C,
me. You
to
hear them
make
cry.
sure we approve of what you're doing?
That doesn't make it better.
A whopping 71% of women said C. They want to make sure they approve of what you're doing.
Oh God. Yeah.
Okay.
Where's memory? All right, so memory, you answered that way. Why?
I did. I've had many long-term relationships, and let's just say many of my exes have not made the right decisions while I wasn't around.
Really?
I know.
Okay.
One of my
All
exes
right.
went out of town without me knowing. He couldn't get to work on Monday. He almost lost his job. Another time, he went and bought an unauthorized toy, a $10,000 motorcycle. So needless to
So
say,
that's
I
a
need to keep
toy.
tabs on him because he
Okay.
was bound to do something ridiculous without my approval.
Oh god.
Wait,
Okay.
why are the things that men enjoy considered toys?
Toys considered just guys,
Frivolous,
yeah, guys,
unnecessary.
guys being kids, like
Mm.
grow up. This is the language
Mm-hmm.
that you always hear. You're playing on your Xbox, you need to grow up. It's like, you still playing on the same toys you were playing with as a kid, the
Dress up
handbags and
and make up.
everything. Yeah, so do you need to grow up too? But let's go back to what she was saying. She said, most of the guys that I've been in relationships with, at some point they would make bad decisions when I wasn't around. How narcissistic does that sound? Are you
Yeah,
saying when you were around, that's when they made excellent decisions?
yeah.
And
And
why
also,
would they make decisions that are excellent because you're there? Is it your presence that helps them make these decisions, or it's you telling them what decisions they need to make that make the decisions perfect or good?
she's
That's
basically saying, before I met you, you were just a horrible, horrible human being who couldn't think for yourself or make a decision.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
I got into your life. Now I'm helping you make good decisions. So, what attracted you to me if I was just a horrible decision maker by myself?
That's the thing I was going to ask to say. Is the guy always making bad decisions? Because then, yes, it makes sense to say he always consistently makes bad decisions. And then when I'm around, he kind of tones it down, which
Yeah.
doesn't say much about you because you are the one dating a guy that always makes the wrong decisions and only makes a good one when you're around.
Who wants to date that guy? Gets me to, and also
Oh,
she said all the guys were like that.
all the
But
guys consistently, that's the guys she picks.
yeah,
And
here's
mhm.
go on.
Well, I was about to say about to actually take it in a different
Okay.
direction. So if
Yeah.
you yeah.
So here's my question though.
Uh-huh.
What's the difference between the second option and the third option? Don't trust, like girls don't trust you, right? And
Yeah,
to make sure that they approve of
of
what you're
what you're doing.
doing. It seems to me that it's a distinction without a difference. It's the
Exactly.
same thing. There
Yeah,
is no real difference at all. The only reason why someone needs to co sign on your decisions or approve of them is that they don't trust your judgment.
exactly.
So, really, the third option is just a politically correct way to
Correct
say
answer.
the second option. Yeah.
And
So,
them being women who usually like to talk in a way that doesn't hurt the other person's feelings, they indulged in it. Right now they was like, okay,
yeah,
let's try to
yeah,
make sure the men don't feel like we don't trust them. Let's give them a politically
yeah,
correct answer. But
yeah.
so in essence what that means is the 21% that voted for B, which is we don't trust the men, and whichever 71% that voted that we don't approve of what you're doing, or we want to make sure we approve of what you're doing, you put that
Mhm.
together, you're looking at around 90%
94.
of women that don't trust the men that they are with. And that is not really a
Yeah.
good.
But to be fair though, to be
Mhm,
fair, the poll actually shows that most women don't trust their partners, right? Like
mhm,
94%,
exactly.
which is a crazy huge number.
It's a high number.
But obviously, this is a highly selective group of women, and they are typical. They are the modern type of women. First of all, they are Western women.
Mhm,
That's the second option. So this is not to broadly paint all the women in every
exactly.
society to
this
be this
this applies to
distrustful.
the American society and the Western society,
American women,
and mostly
Western
urban
women.
city type of women too, not just, because it would be a little different in other smaller towns and all that. Then the other thing to speak of is, if you are saying that the guy has to actually tell you what he's doing for you to believe and to trust what he's doing, what does that mean in terms of, so are you scared that he will meet another woman and then leave you? And what does that say as far as the value that you bring, to say he will just meet another girl and just leave you? Is it
Mhm.
because you don't bring much to the table that you are very scared that the next girl can
you
come and then just take your husband because you bring the bare minimum, and that's what any girl needs to bring to take your husband, which is to say you
Yeah.
only bring sex and you only bring your looks and nothing else, because every other woman has that and they can bring that, and there's a lot of women that are probably more beautiful than you.
Yeah, you are definitely right, and I'm actually more interested in that question you were answering, that in like what causes these trust issues, because we
Mhm.
already established that
There
there are
is
huge
trust
trust
issues.
issues, right?
Exactly.
So there's an article by an online magazine called Medium.
Mhm.
It was written by a lady called Angam Bawi or something like that.
Mhm.
She she titled the article "The Real Reasons Why Women Have Trust Issues."
Yeah.
You may be asking, why are you reading that magazine?
Mhm.
Which I would reply to say, why not? I mean, you have to know what you are dealing with.
You're in touch with
Yeah,
your feminine. That's
yeah.
not a bad thing.
Anyway, in that article, she mentions these things as causes for women's trust issues in order. She said childhood trauma,
Mhm.
being cheated on in the past,
Mhm.
being ghosted
Mhm.
while online dating,
They don't take rejection easily.
and being insecure.
Mhm.
So those things with different variations, the reasons she mentions in this article, they are things that happen to men as well. Men
Exactly.
childhood
Why don't we?
traumas too.
Exactly.
They get cheated on too.
Yes, sir.
They've been ghosted even more so than
We
women
get ghosted.
online.
They have no idea what we go through. They have no idea. We've shown up to dates and people don't show up.
Yeah, yeah. So,
But
so the real question really is, it has to be, what is it about modern women, these kinds of women, that makes them distrust their partners to the point where they ask for Snapchats and live geolocations, of where their men are.
and
And I
also,
think that
you
I think
finish
that
first.
modern women, in their
Mhm.
pursuit for equality in general,
Mhm.
especially in marriage and relationships,
Mhm.
they realize it's impossible to be equal, which makes them insecure, or they realize that they are copies of each other. So they are the
Exactly.
same person, right, with nothing unique to offer, which makes
Sure.
them insecure, and realizing that if the men gets around other women, they
Yeah.
will quickly realize how basic they are and how they could easily be replaceable.
The problem that we're having with our women right now is they're all competing in the same arena for the same type of men, right? Which obviously makes the men, especially the top 20% of men that they're going for, very scarce. And that increases the value because, as economics, we know once something is highly sought after, but it's in limited supply, then its price is going to obviously go up. But the
Mhm.
problem that we're having is women before used to understand that they needed to bring value more than just their sexuality and what they carry in between their legs. Now, we now have women that try to work on the superficial things more of, I will put on a weave. I will work hard to make sure my fake hair looks good and I have makeup and my nails are fine. But
Okay, shots fired. Shots fired.
but the thing is, yeah, well, obviously we know who I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to say is there are obviously other issues also, even with other women of other races and stuff. But this problem is very, you can pick it out to where the difference between the girl that has good nails that are green and the girl that has the ones that are red, or the girl that has a better weave and the other girl that has a weave that's red or something, is very minimal. It's not
Mhm.
going to
It's
make you
inconsequential.
stand out. But
Yeah.
instead of them working on the things that men are asking for, to say, if you're a girl that says, I either have an actual degree, right, which is something they think is valuable, it's not valuable to us, but let's say you do have it, you
Mm.
actually do have a financial value you bring, and you also know how to cook, you also know how to actually solve problems in an actual relationship. That is, you have actual conflict resolution. You're not a person that's going to
Mhm.
go and start just being crazy, right? That increases your value exponentially because you are a rarity, you're a unicorn. Like, most men will be surprised to say, you say you
Mhm.
don't argue, you don't nag, and you're also cute. You don't even need
Mhm.
to look like Rihanna at that point, but most women don't get that.
The what modern women or feminism in general has done to women is that questions that are relevant to them, that are important,
Yes.
what they've done to them is to label them sexist
Sexist. Yep.
or dismiss them entirely as
Deflection
unnecessary.
tactics. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, you ask a woman a question, what do you bring to the table?
I'm the table.
Some of them will say something obnoxious like, I'm the table.
Yeah.
But really, instead of introspection, they always look outward. Now, when I was I'm going back to this article because when I was actually reading it, I realized one thing that instead of answering the questions, like why am I really like that? Why do I act like that? And try to change instead
Yeah.
of saying, okay, what do I do to become more valuable or irreplaceable so that I
Exactly.
remove my insecurities?
From the next
Instead of asking
girl.
that,
Yes.
yeah,
Don't say I
they
love traveling. Every girl loves traveling.
yeah, yeah. Instead of doing that, of regulating their own behavior, what they do is to try to control the men. So they never look internally. So to say, okay, what can I change about my behavior? Because to
Exactly.
them, they are perfect. It's
Yes.
always, what can I do to make someone else change their behavior? And changing someone's behavior is very difficult, if not impossible. So, in their desperation, they resort to more and more extreme ways to do so, like
Exactly.
send me a Snapchat, send me a WhatsApp geolocation, take a photo. So, they'll go through your phone, they'll go through your
Man.
clothes, which is crazy behavior. And in the end, men just say, she's crazy.
And I think this is one thing I would probably like to say is like maybe my last point. It's crazy how you find women that are more willing to do or to resort to these tactics in order to have a relationship. Yes, they have a relationship, but it's not a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
It's a different relationship if I don't need to know where my man is because I understand that wherever he is and whatever he's looking at, he values me enough that nothing will happen. I think it's a better relationship to aim for. When men ask women what they bring to the table, instead of looking at that question and look at it as it's just men trying to attack women, I think a better way of looking at it as a woman is to say, if I actually have something I can actually say is value that I bring to the table that the men appreciate, not saying that I have degrees or that I'm independent, because that does not matter to men at all. We
Yeah.
will marry a girl at McDonald's if we have to. We
Yeah.
will go down in looks and everything to gain compliance and just cooperation. What am I trying to say? If a woman understands what she brings to the table, it makes sure that she will not have the type of relationship that she will have to actually try to keep tabs on a man 360 days a year because she has inherent value. If for example, I mean, I don't know, maybe I still think it happens though anyway, but there are certain types of women I think we have in our society. I can't pick an example right off the bat that just will not need to ask to know where their men are, or let's say the vice versa, to say if Chris Brown is dating a girl at McDonald's or a girl that doesn't have some value somewhere, and let's say she's a decent person, he doesn't need to spend his time trying to figure out where she is because he understands that he is enough for her. And if she was to
Yeah.
go and go somewhere, it's her loss because someone will be in her place.
Yeah, for those women who might be listening to this and thinking this could be, valuable information, right? I just want to extend, like, how do you create value? Because
Yes.
okay, let's say we already established that yeah, I need to be more valuable. How
Yes.
do you
Yeah.
create value? You don't
Mhm.
sit in your house and listen to other women about what makes you desirable and what makes you look
Exactly.
this way and so on,
Because
right?
you're not marrying them.
You're not going to marry. So most of those things, if you really listen to what men actually want in a marriage or in a relationship,
Very
they are
simple.
very simple and very basic things. Then
Mhm.
you realize that whatever you were concentrating on is actually not as valuable. You cannot get into a marketplace and impose a price that you arbitrarily that say, I'm selling bananas, I'll charge $100 a piece. People will think you are crazy. right? You gauge the market. What does the market want?
It's like you walking into the hood and saying, I have country music CDs, you have to buy them, they're very valuable. You
You
can
can't
try
do
to
that.
convince them. They don't care
Yeah.
about country music in the ghetto. And
Yeah,
I mean, like in the black ghetto. And I'm just trying to paint a picture here.
it reminds me of that video of Tommy Lauren when she was saying that value, 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 and the things that she goes on to describe as value
Are not
are
value
having
to
a
us.
good career and
Yeah.
so on. No, when I'm not marrying a director here,
You're not my
so
secretary.
yeah, so you have to be able to tell what are the things that men actually value. That is, if you actually want to have a successful
And
relationship.
and let's spell it out, at least according to the best minds I've had, at least on this issue. What men want is cooperative women, not combativeness, fit, and feminine. Those three things are usually as simple as you can get. I know there are nuances to it, but if you are fit, that is to say, you are not heavy, and if you are not comparative, to say that you're easygoing, you're not a person that has to fight on everything to get their way. And if you're feminine, that is to, you actually understand that it's not being weak to act like
Mhm.
a woman, then you are not going to have any problems with men. That's at least my take on it. All right, so that was the video, guys. To close up, let's hear it from you. Do you think that modern women have trust issues? And also, if they do have trust issues, do you think men should put up with that kind of behavior? Would you want to date a girl that constantly wants and needs to know where you are and keeps tabs on you? Let us know down. That's been the Two Decent Blokes reacting to Steve Harvey the event, and we out.